Hello and welcome back. This is Dr. Richardson to share some more tips about proceeding through your ePortfolio capstone. So our last kind of longish video answered the question, what is the framework for your ePortfolio and maybe suggested why it's important to use the PMI framework. And that is, more in my words, as you exit out your academic program, to be tied specifically to industry terms and how industry looks at the methodology is very important for you to kind of get an idea and solidify your academic journey in the terms of industry. And when I say terms here, I literally mean the words and the jargon. All right, so these next couple of videos probably will not be as long. So I share with you what is an artifact. So an artifact is evidence. It is going to be you as the owner of your ePortfolio, as a student who's going to be displaying mastery of project management. It is your evidence. So in your announcements, I put the instructions for your 501 project. And I might be able to, well, I don't think I can click over to it. So please revisit your 501 final project instructions. And ultimately, your 501 culminated in not all of the pieces of a project plan, but pretty darn close to it. And in your 501 project final assignment, let me see if I can pull it up because I do think it would benefit us to see it. All right, so you have it up on your screen. I am going to try to pull it up on my side screen just so, oh, maybe, all right, sorry about this clunkiness. We will. All right, so that might have felt a little clunky on your side. I was trying to bring up the 501 instructions to be in the window that this video system is taping. It didn't work. So hopefully you have open the instructions I put in the announcement for your 501 project. So what I will call your eyes to, or remind you, first off, is that your 501 culminated in a single, pretty large assignment. And that is an artifact. So that assignment from 501 is pretty close to it has the essence of a project plan. And you could use it as one of your project plan artifacts to bring into your ePortfolio. That one assignment, the 501 final assignment, can be used as many as 3 times. So as a final deliverable, all in one big, most of mine that I've seen have been as few as 30 pages and as many as 50 to finish out your 501. So as let's say that it's a 35-page document, that can be used as a single artifact, and you can use that one artifact 3 times. But if you look at the contents of your 501 final deliverable, the first requirement was a project charter. The second requirement was a stakeholder analysis. The third, scope management plan. The fourth, project estimates. Scope baseline, schedule management, network diagram, probability estimation, schedule reduction, resource loading, schedule baseline, budget management, project budget, and your earned value analysis. So each of those, I counted 14, each of those you can pop out of your final deliverable and use each of those as many as 3 times a piece. So once again, your 501 project as a culmination of all the parts can be used 3 times, and then each of the 14 components of the project can be used 3 times a piece. So with pretty quick work of your 501 project, you have as many as 45 artifacts just from that one assignment. Now keep in mind, when you go to upload these into your ePortfolio, if you choose to use them as different pieces parts, so earlier or in the previous video, we talked about each process has inputs, tools, and outputs. I should have mentioned it earlier, but your focus in terms of evidence should be focused on either the tool or technique or the output of each process. While the inputs are important to any process, the work that you do inside of that process is to use the tool and technique, and you create something new to make a decision from or about, and that is generally the output. So once again, going back to your 501, there are as many as 45 different, you can use 45 artifacts from your 501 assignment. Now, each of the artifacts you should use in a different way, and I'll talk a little bit more about that when I talk about framing. So what else are artifacts? So the example from 501, and then every one of your courses has culminated in something substantial. In 502, you did the stakeholder series, which was a paper, and you might have created a pretty extensive communication plan. In 611, you talked quite a bit about teaming and HR. In 612, depending on which version you took, you either looked at all 47 processes from the lens of a global project, or you created a scorecard, a training plan, and ultimately a training manual for global project management. 613, you created a very comprehensive risk management plan. 614, you looked at project recovery through the lens of a change control board. So all of those were really your culminating activities for each of your courses. But in every one of those courses, there was probably as few as a half dozen and as many as a dozen additional assignments that you did that you could bring those into your e-portfolio. But don't only focus in on your project management coursework. Feel free to bring in any work from any of your academic courses, be it from your master's degree that you're pursuing now from the MSPM or any of your electives. But also feel free, if you have stuff from your undergrad that exhibits project management mastery, feel free to bring those in. But don't only look at your coursework. What some of the best e-portfolios I've seen is where students have brought in their professional work into the e-portfolio, articulated your mastery of project management through the lens of your what you do for a living. So feel free to look also external for evidence of your mastery of project management. Now, if you choose to bring things in from your professional work, please remove any information that might be proprietary. We do not want to accidentally have proprietary information into our system. But if you've got a great artifact, just kind of blacken out some of the details so that anything that could be the proprietary component you've removed from the artifact that you'll upload. Additionally, if you are doing some things in your life that exhibit project management mastery. So if you are involved in Girl Scouts, there is a huge project that happens annually with the Girl Scout Cookie Drive. There is evidence of project management in that large scale activity, or even if it's just at your troop level. If you're involved in what might be something like committee work in your church, and it has essence of project management, feel free to bring those things into your e-portfolio. So you are not restricted to your academic work, you're not restricted to your personal work, you can extend this out to your personal life as well. The key is to bring this into your e-portfolio so that it exhibits your personal mastery of project management and in a manner that you can actually describe how it is used in context and how it helps a project manager make a decision. So you might also say, but wait a minute, what if I don't have enough artifacts? So there are a couple of, debatably easy approaches to not having enough artifacts. So if you are scratching your head and you can't find an artifact, I offer you to chat on the phone. Normally, I'm going to start just asking you a bunch of questions about what you do for a living, what you might be working on in your personal life, and we might be able to couch and capture what you do into an artifact to bring into your e-portfolio. If that does not go successfully, what you and I will generally do is talk about perhaps if there's a case study you might do. I generally don't want you to do extra work. I would much rather you find something that already exists and you bring that into your e-portfolio in a manner that isn't recreating anything. I would much rather you spend your time discovering what you already do and how it makes a connection um, to the project management mastery. Now, you might, or some of you might have already found that there are a lot of templates available online. And I personally have a love-hate relationship with templates. I love them because it helps you visualize what something might look like, and you do not have to, recreate the wheel. And you can then take a visual document and then make it your own. So for that reason, I love it because you're not recreating the wheel. But I hate it because project management is not an exercise of filling in the blanks. Project management is far more complex than taking a template somebody else created and adding, or again, filling in the blanks as somebody else thinks these things are important to your project. So my love-hate relationship, I do have to balance it in our academic world, where if it can catapult you to not have to recreate something, but then you take somebody else's work and you morph it to be your own, I'm generally okay with that. So if we get to a point that you don't have artifacts and you start trolling the internet to look for or find some templates, you will be expected to fill the template out as if you were using it in one of your projects, and you will be expected to articulate how to use this types of information in context and also describe how it helps you make decisions. So I'm just going to go ahead and our next topic would be, or is, how many artifacts do you need to complete your ePortfolio? So for those of you who choose the 5th edition PMBOK, as mentioned in the previous video, there are 47 processes. And to complete this ePortfolio successfully, you need a minimum of 3 artifacts per process. So yes, for those of you who do quick math, that's about 150 artifacts. But I remind you that any one artifact can be used 3 different times. That I kind of open this with, go review the instructions from your 501, and that the 501 final project is an artifact. But then if you look at the table of contents, there are a minimum of 14 different pieces to that final project, and each of those 14 can be used 3 times. So we quickly did some math there to say that your 501 final project can be as many as 45 artifacts just with your one assignment. The goal with these artifacts is for you to show us a little bit of quality and variety of your application of project management, so that you show that you've mastered the methodology. And as I mentioned already once, when you look at in your, let's say, figure 5-1 of your PMBOK, I'm actually going to scroll back up to reiterate. So now I would like you to focus your eyes on the right-hand side of this diagram. On the right-hand side, this is figure 4-1. And as a reminder, it is the processes that I call bubbles. Internal to each bubble is a breakdown of the inputs, the tools, and the outputs. And when you present your artifacts in your ePortfolio for any one process, you should focus on the tools, because that is what you do to complete the process. And you should focus on the outputs, which is what is created as a result of the work. And your goal is for each of the 47 processes to have a variety of tools and outputs, and that they are displayed in a way that shows that you fully understand the context of each of the artifacts and how they help project managers make decisions. You might be inclined to say, oh, what if I do one input and one tool and one output per process? So my response to you there is, that's a good goal to have, and I would say that you would be very successful if you did that. But what I hate to have you do is spin your wheels looking for, a particular input, or losing yourself looking for a particular tool. I would much rather you spend your time bringing into your ePortfolio those great artifacts that represent your mastery of that particular process rather than you doing a scavenger hunt looking for a particular input into a process and essentially wasting your time and getting frustrated. All right, ladies and gentlemen, these last 15 minutes, my goal here was to help you better understand what an artifact is. I also included how many artifacts that you need. And the end overall takeaway from this video is that you do not have to restrict yourself to your academic journey. Feel free to bring in your professional and your personal life into your ePortfolio. This truly is your work. And yes, the number of artifacts is pretty grand. It approaches 150, but don't get paralyzed by that because you have ample as a result of your academic journey. But I do encourage you to look out of your academics and into what you do for a living. All right, ladies and gentlemen, in our next presentation, I will talk about your word picture. And that is going to be your voice to the reader to understand how or why you brought a particular artifact in, why it's important, and how it helps project managers make decisions. All right, see you in the next video.